Oh, Mr. Joel.
How you doing?
Thomas Doty.
Thomas Doty. Nice to meet you, Thomas.
Nice to meet you, sir.
I just wanted to. I didn't know who was my commissioner, so I didn't.
Yeah, I'm the 3rd District Commissioner here in Hamblen County. This is my first term because there was a unfortunate passing of the 3rd District Commissioner, a good man, Dana Wampler, and it left an opening, and I put my hat in the ring and I ran for the office, and the people thought enough of me to elect me. So,
well, that's awesome.
Trying to do the best I can for the people.
Awesome, perfect. So, tell me, in your opinion, what are the pros and cons about the new jail? I mean, how do you feel about it?
There's a lot of pros and cons for this jail. The main con is the fact that the sheriff says he doesn't want this jail in this area, but he wants a single-level jail out here. The reason, personally, that I went against that is because if we buy land within a half a mile of your property and say we're going to build a jail on it, your property loses 75% of its value like that. When we looked at different parcels around that were big enough that had the resources necessary, because you'd have to have sewer, main electricity, main city water, because you can't put a septic system in for 600 people.
No.
Just cannot happen. But when we looked at those, I was getting no less than 25 calls a day from the residents that lived around all those areas that said, please do not vote to buy this land to build a jail. It will destroy my property values. So I didn't go against, per se, COAG or the sheriff or about the dozen people that called me for it. I went with I have a total at home, but I'm almost positive it's 78 people that called me, said, please don't do this, you'll destroy my property values. Because we had 3 or 4 places we were looking at. That's why I went with that. But it's an unpopular thing over there. That is the con. The pros is we're moving at half a block. It destroys no one's property values. Everybody's property values that were hurt by it previously will remain the same because we moved it half a block. It's not moved anywhere out that's going to hurt somebody.
Yeah, but now it's just a bigger facility. Has anybody talked to those people? As a matter of fact, I'm going to go out there this weekend and I'm going to go knock on doors and go ahead. Have a good day.
If you do, and like I said, it's moved half a block.
It's a bigger facility. I mean, it's the difference from having
It's a different facility, but it's a nicer facility.
More inmates being released.
It's a nicer facility. It's a cleaner facility. It is designed with the
Sorry.
I'll start back. It's designed with the aesthetics of Rose Center to blend in. That's been brought up in the meetings, that the design, the colors, is so that it will help blend in with the Rose Center and not take away from the area, as the old jail does.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Let's step over here so we don't get that anymore. I don't care. But I understand that people are there and they may have wanted the jail to move, but it was already there. You will be able to see where their inmates were released before from where they're released now. It's just, that close.
Now, I know, because I've done work for one of the people that own a couple duplexes right there. Mm-hmm. And I think that once that jail is there, they're no longer going to have that view because it's going to be multi-story and all they're going to see is the jail. Now, you mentioned location. Why does it have to be in a residential neighborhood? Why can't it be in a commercial neighborhood?
Because all the commercial property that we looked at was bought up. We went to look at, to bid on a piece of property that came available in a commercial area that was feasible for building the jail, was not going to require millions of loads of dirt to come in, because we had some that you couldn't have done enough.
Yeah, some properties
you just can't.
Yeah.
But those that were, one individual, and I'll not mention his name, in this county, went and bought that piece of property. He has quite a bit of money. He doesn't even live anywhere near it, but said in quote, I'm only buying this so you don't ever put a jail there, because a jail doesn't need to be beside a business. The man's words. I don't agree with it. We looked into the evidence. We have looked into them. As far as the staffing, it keeps popping up that the staffing. I'm in the process of trying to get the numbers from Coffee County. When I went to Coffee County with them, they didn't give me a piece of paper, but they gave me the number that for their jail, that the state told them it would take 97 corrections officers to staff. If you break that down by the 100 and then multiply it by 6, we are building an easier to staff jail by the numbers the state gave for a single level, which would get down at 97, would be just a hair above. It'd be what, 25 and a quarter or 24 and a quarter. You multiply that by 600, you're almost at 150. You're at 148 and a half. That is a whole lot more people than are telling us to staff this one by the same people. And that's the number that everybody's using to throw out at us. Do we need a 600-bed jail? I would like to think that we didn't. But prior to this, COVID and the state legislature, the state Supreme Court, the federal judges saying let them out, we had over 470 inmates at one point. When I've been a Hamblen County resident my whole life. When that jail was built, I remember, I was just young, but I remember people saying it's already too small the day it was built, and we still have to pay for it for years. Is this going to cost a lot of money? Yes. I hate that it's going to cost that much money. But I want something that's not going to be out of date and too full the day it's built. Right now we have 200 plus inmates. And I really, really believe in the programs you're talking about.
Yes, I was just going to ask that.
I do like those programs. I've even shown some people, and I can get you, I don't have it with me, some information on people to contact for those, to bring those in. The thing is, we have no powers to make someone a judge not put people in the jail. We don't have that. We can't tell them you can't put 600 inmates in. We don't have that power.
No, but if you build it, they will come, right?
if we build a 400-bed jail and they put 475 in there and there's a class action lawsuit, what happens then?
Yeah, no.
You have to think about both sides of it. And we're trying to head that off right now. I would hope that it wouldn't take 600 beds, but I'm afraid it's going to. As far as the courtrooms we have are in bad shape. I worked as a court officer part-time during the last economic downturn because I needed a little extra money. I was only working 4 days a week at my primary job, and as we all do, I set my bills up on what I made. But so I took the job doing the court officer, working in civil court for Judge Snyder. There was days that I would have 3 times as many people standing in the hallway that had been summoned to court over a debt than could fit in the room.
Oh, yeah.
And we need something to where we can handle that. These courtrooms are not big enough for that. They are set up for, this one is 60 years old, this courtroom. I was going to say 70, but I'm counting the years in my head. It was in the 60s when it was built, but 60 years old. And times have surpassed that. There's more people.
Sure.
I would love to have something that where they talk about all these people coming, that we could still have social distancing, but have as many people as wants to come. I've always been one to reply if I get an email or if I get a phone call. I call back. I do reply. Now, I do work a public job. I don't have the ability to answer my phone during work hours. It just doesn't happen. I work at Molly. They have a rule against it. I just can't do it. But I return those calls. If somebody leaves me a message, you text me, I won't answer it right then, but at the end of the day, I will, until I get off work or if it's something I'm going to have to research. If they want to tell you, they'll tell you, but we know that sometimes they don't, but I have brought them numbers. They ask me for numbers, I get them the best I can. And I'm limited, just like everybody else, but I do request those, and I get them. And do I think it's frivolous? No. But sometimes when people just do it to see how many times you will respond, then it does get a little monotonous sometimes. But
Sure.
so far, I've done it every time. I've not had that issue yet, like we've seen on some things. And Jeff, you gonna be locking up, or?
I think Michelle's still here.
Okay, Michelle's still here.
I
Okay.
think. I don't know.
All right. Thank you.
I assume she is.
Yeah.
If she's not, I'll come back and tell you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was just for the lockup up here because we don't have access to come in and out as we want willy-nilly or.
Right.
But I would love to see where we could have multiple people in here. Now, would it be feasible to allow 32 people to have 5 minutes? And that was the numbers that was given to us by the audience today. That's 160 minutes. That's not 20 minutes. Plus the time traversing from the area up to the podium and back and forth. You could be looking at 3.5 to 4 hours.
Could be, and there are meetings that are.
There are meetings that last that long, but when they do last that long, it's something that Commissioner Cutshaw said, they become counterproductive. When you sit there for 4 hours, and the time that they're talking about, we all had the information, we all knew that we were going to vote no. But it kept coming and kept coming and kept coming, and it was the same exact verbiage on some of them. A lot of people were very upset about it, and we knew that because people had, like Commissioner Cutsall said, and Election Commissioner Perkey, they contacted us prior to the meeting, told, this is what I don't like. And that was great. That's how I was going to vote. I knew that the minute I walked in. And if I know that information, then I do vote that way. But the people have to tell me how they want. Now, as far as, and I know this is stepping away a little bit from where you were talking about the jail, about the things laid in front of us just 5 minutes prior to. I voted no on quite a few of those. I was actually one of those that voted that we need to keep a 10-day rule.
Definitely.
We do need that. But there's some items that if people look back through even Miss Noy's recordings that we have discussed 4, 5, 6 times. We just didn't have the exact number, but we know the history of. We know what those amounts are going to be, and this is just a final total. On that one, yes, I will vote for it because it has been researched. It has been looked at. I have looked at it myself and addressed the issues that I felt, and I do research them. It's a funny thing. I went back to college in my 40s. I actually still have that homework mentality in my brain. If I see something, I want to know about it. I've got to go find it. And that's what I do with most anything that I see here. And by most, there's some things because of my mechanical background, and I've talked in the meetings about it because I've done maintenance for over 30 years, that I don't need to look at because I've dealt with it personally for 30 straight years in a maintenance aspect. So, but other than that, I research. I don't just come in willy-nilly. As is shown in some of the social media, I am not a puppet. I have called out and asked questions, but only when necessary.
All right. So I want to bring back
We may have to go and do this another time because it's getting 8 o'clock.
If you want to walk on out that way, and we'll talk.
That sounds good. We'll go out here.
Which way you want to go? This way.
Let's just go this way. It's going to be quicker. We got the stairs right here. This your son?
This is my son, Antonio. Yes, sir.
Antonio, I'm Thomas Doty. Nice to meet you.
Have a good evening. Have a good evening. We're going to go finish this conversation out here so they can close on up. At least if we can enjoy being out here with not long sleeve shirts on.
Oh my gosh, just for one more day.
I know it's gonna get cold again.
You gonna have enough light? Or?
Yeah,
Let's get over.
yeah, perfect. That's great.
Sit this stuff down so it don't look like I'm running off.
All right, so the programs.
Yes.
Do you know whether or not Hamblen County offers electronic monitoring?
There are some versions of the electronic monitoring here. They are, my understanding, it goes through Judge Collins's court and Judge Duggar's court, and it's the judges that make that decision on whether a person qualifies for that or not. It doesn't come through us. It's a judicial thing. So I think they offer it. I've been told that there is some of that, but as far as direct seeing it, I haven't.
All right. Go ahead.
I'm gonna be in the way while I lock this. Nobody went in after you came out.
No. No, we're good.
So, who has the authority on the housing of state inmates?
State inmates, and people can tell you Teresa Laws has been here and told numerous times, and people refuse to listen to it, and I don't know why. Yes, there are state inmates in our jail, but those state inmates, our chief jailer, are only people that are sentenced from this county by our judges that there are no open beds in state facilities for. We are required, according to her, by law, to house those until there are open beds in a state facility. It is not something we do as a moneymaker.
No, because we lose money on every inmate every day that they're there. That is a state inmate. They only pay $39 a day, and the numbers of what it costs us to have an inmate was done many years back. There's not even anything recent on there. So many years ago, we were losing $4 a day. We also are liable for all of their medical expenses.
Yes, we are.
And some of them we're talking about $10,000 and more dollars for.
There's been babies born with complications. There's been numerous issues with that, and unfortunately, we have no control over that. That is state and or federal law that we are required to provide them the medical coverage.
Yeah.
It is unfortunate to me because I think that jail should not be a place of leisure. It should be a place of rehabilitation. And we're required to give X benefits, and I'm not sure of all those, but by federal law, it just states you cannot have them here and not give them certain TV stations and such. To me, it needs to be a rehabilitation. It doesn't need to be a leisure, but again, we don't have that control. We do not have that power as a county commission. We're very limited. People think we have all this power. We have very little, but we have a lot of responsibility. We are required to fund the jail. We are required to fund the school system. And Miss Noe and I had a discussion about this once before when she was on commission. She found out just as I have. As a commission, we cannot give a school system less money than we did the previous year unless they have a significant decrease in student numbers. By state law, we have to. If the state cuts back some of the funding, we have to compensate for that. That school system has to have that same money, and we're required by law to do it. And the only way we have of doing it is to assess tax. As far as assessing tax, a lot of people hate us for it. I'm sorry, it's just what comes, what has to happen is a tax base. That's how we fund things. Those two items we have to. We don't have an option by state law. We have to fund them. And this tax increase, I hated doing it. I didn't want to, but we cut it to the bare minimum, 3 pennies. 3 pennies, and you can get this information from the county mayor's office as well. A penny brings in approximately $145,000 a year for the county on property tax. That breaks down to $435,000 with the 3 pennies. we are guaranteeing that we can pay back $85 million. Not that we're gonna borrow that, not that that's what it's gonna cost, but we had to show a guarantee that we could pay it back. And on the books, we can guarantee to pay back $85 million on only raising taxes $435,000. $435,000 won't pay the interest on $85 million. So think of the budget pinching, the budget squeezing that we had to do to get to that point today, that we can do that.
But there's a lot of government waste that goes on in every facility.
There is.
And not until they're told to watch their spending on certain matters, they're going to continue to waste it. And I think we need to bring that up because I have 4 children between 2 different schools. Sometimes we'll get 4 of the same exact letters mailed home, okay? And they're always in Spanish and English. Now, you might say, that's not a big deal. And no, it's not a big deal. But when you're receiving...
When you look at postage and everything, this is the main issue with that, is we have no say-so over the school system on that type of work. They come to us with their budget. We fund their budget. They make those decisions themselves. We do not have that minute control. We can't tell them, you can't do this, you can't do that, unless it's a major spending thing or in their direct budget. And we either can defund their budget or fund their budget. We don't have the right to go in and make minute cuts to their budget at all.
All right.
We get their budget, and that's just it.
See, and a lot of people would disagree. No, schools need money, right?
Yes.
But the school board is getting a lot of money, but the classrooms are suffering. Okay? There's teachers that don't have enough cleaning supplies. They don't have enough napkins. They don't have enough erasers and markers for the boards that they have. And they're relying on the parents to supply that to them. And, some parents can do that, and some parents refuse to do that. Some parents can't afford to do that. But a big profit and moneymaker would be every year, sometimes I think twice a year, the school sells books, right? They have a book fair, okay? And they make a little bit of money off of that. But the schools already know that they have X amount of students, and each classroom is required to have a certain amount of notebooks, a certain amount of folders, a certain amount of pens, a certain amount of pencils. So why do we let places, big stores, profit from that? Why are we not purchasing that stuff as a government and saying, listen, this is how much it is for your student, for all of this stuff. It's cheaper than it's going to be if you go out and you buy it somewhere else. And bring some of that profit back into the government instead of letting other private entities make that money. It's a known thing. If we purchase this many, we're going to sell this many. I think that's something that needs to be addressed, that needs to be looked into, because you're wanting families to go out. And I've got 4 kids. I spend $100, $150 a year just on school supplies at the beginning. Not the backpack that needs to be replaced a couple months later or this or that.
The lunchbox.
The lunchbox is, right, the this, the that. So it all adds up. And I think the school board, if the school board sold some of those things where we could go right into the office and we can purchase that, or we can send our kids with a letter in an envelope that says, hey, here's $5 so that my son gets, the folder that he needs, right? That's a way of making money back into the county. Just like if the county buys something, the county doesn't pay taxes on that. Right? It's a tax exempt. So we can also help lower the price by having that tax exempt.
I do not think if it's sold to the parent that it could be tax exempt. I think it has to be a taxed item. You can only have it tax exempt for the entity that has the tax exempt status. That would be something you'd have to follow up with the school board and see about them. Myself personally, we have 2 grandchildren that we provide all of their school supplies for, so I can see where you're coming with this. And but again, we don't manage the school system's budget, so that would be something you would need to address with them and see if they have that. But now when you get into that, yes, you can purchase it, you can buy it, but you're going to have to look into wages of somebody to go purchase it, somebody to keep track of it as far as the accounting system of it for the money and where the money's going to go, because if not, there'll be complaints. You have to find somebody that'll keep up with the inventory of it and make sure that each area has enough to sell at each time that a child might come up and ask for it, plus just the people to sell it each day. So it might not be as cheap as someone thinks, because we're not taking in all the indirect costs that come from it as well, because that all has to be accounted in with it and rolled in with the price. It's not that they have free people to do that, my understanding. Now, if they do, that would be something you'd need to address with the school board.
But a lot of those people are on salary. They're not paid by the hour. So they can take turns and revolve around on who does what. Maybe we only sell at the beginning of the year. And you had mentioned about taxes. Now, there's the government, at the beginning of the school year, a lot of times they will do a tax relief, open to anybody. So I don't see why we can't also in that time do a tax relief.
Again, that would be well out of the realm that we could do as a county commission. That would be way out of our realm of control. We don't have the authority to do any of that at all as far as a tax relief. That goes through the state as far as your sales tax and such. State sets that. So that even goes well above our school board here. And I'm sure that you would have to get with state comptroller's office to find out what all the to-dos are as far as to try to get that into work so that it could be used in the school system.
All right, so we need to have somebody in the school board.
I don't know that, sir. That's
Try to make that, yeah.
That's something you need to address with them. That's what I'm getting at. It's nothing that I have
No
control over.
No,
at all.
I mean, we're just talking about budget, though. I mean, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about
Like
long-term budget.
I don't have the authority to say you have to cut your budget by X amount to do this. I can say we're not approving this budget. Go back and come back with different numbers. That's where our authority ends. We fund or defund.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I don't want to hold you up.
Yeah, it's a little after 8, and I've got to go take care of my parents. My dad's 95, my mom's 83, and I'm their primary caregiver. And I get up at 4:30 in the morning. So
I don't miss those days at all. I haven't been back home. You can see I got pine sap still all over my hands from working all day myself. My truck's actually parked on the other side over there. But hey, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to give the people in the district your number or no?
Yeah. If anyone wants to contact me, it's area code 423-748-3252, and the email is thomasdoty67@gmail.com. And all of this information is on the county's website under the county commission. My actual cell phone number is there, as well as my actual email. So if people send me information, they want to know something, a question, direct questions, I will get that to them. Please understand, don't try to get that information at 5:05 and the meeting started at 5 o'clock, because I do turn my ringer and phone off at that time frame so that I can actually put my mind where it needs to be on the county's business and taking care of the people's money, because in the end, I'm only a steward of the citizens of Hamblen County, and specifically the residents in District 3.
All right, can you just tell the people where District 3 is, just in case they don't know?
District 3 is voting at East High School. It actually runs from AJ, and it will be the south side of AJ, up to Cumberland. You go left on Cumberland, and you go up, and it has the east side of Cumberland. You then turn on to Algonquin, and follow Algonquin out all the way to past Liberty Hill where it turns into Joe Hall. And it's always the east side of that. You go out Joe Hall to the end and hit Fish Hatchery. And you turn left on the Fish Hatchery, and the 3rd District's on the north side of the road there. All the way out to where it hits Musser Road. Turn left on the Musser, and it is the west side of Musser. Go down to the next road to the right, take it, it's the left side of the road, all the way to Carroll Road. Hang a left on Carroll Road, and it is the west side of the road, all the way back out, and it hits Morse Boulevard where Carroll Road comes back out. And it's the north side of that, which is only businesses, up to Jaybird. On Jaybird Road, it shoots up and takes the first subdivision up on White Cliff and around, and comes back out and back up AJ.
All right, so if you all live in that area and you have any questions, Mr. Doty seems like a stand-up gentleman. This is the first time I've ever actually got to talk with him. So if there's anything, any concerns, anything that you appreciate that he's doing for you, just give him a thumbs up. Tell him, hey, thank you very much. We appreciate, you speaking up for us. If there's anything in the lines that you would like him to bring up, reach out to him as well. But we have to thank the good commissioners that are doing what they're supposed to do. That way they know that they're appreciated, guys. It's about appreciation. Nothing can always be 100% negative. We have to show appreciation where appreciation is due. Mr. Doty, I appreciate it. I'll give you one of these daps. Thank you. You have a great night.
You too. Nice to meet you, young man.
All right. So we had a nice interview with Mr. Doty. And this meeting went pretty good. There was good dialogue back and forth. Sorry y'all can't see. It's kind of dark walking out here to my work truck, which is part way back here. There's no place to park the trailer over here. So even one of the commissioners said that we need more citizens to show up. We need more citizens to discuss what it is that they want out of their commissioners. So if nobody comes to these meetings and nobody speaks up, these commissioners, they're kind of in the blind. They're not sure of what angle to go. I'm hoping that this was a very good insight as far as where the future is going to go and what the future holds for us. And hopefully these meetings don't get to where they're restricted. Hopefully they're allowed to continue to say what we need to say and be heard and listened to without a rush in time. And hopefully everybody can come up there and can speak their mind, whether or not it's repetitive. And if you don't know what to say, then, and you're going to mention the same thing, it might not be worth going on up there because you may take the time of somebody else. But to be told that you can't do it is a restriction that we shouldn't have to deal with. I'm going to let you all go. I appreciate you all watching. Please subscribe, give this a thumbs up, and call your commissioners. It's on the government website, Hamblen County, and see what they have to say and see what they can do and your concerns. Thank them if you think they're doing a good job. All right. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.